Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to be talking about my top tips to follow when you're doing the Slim and Whale plan. Okay, so one of the things that I get asked pretty much every day is how do I keep it up? How do I keep... So one of the things I'm asked the most is how do I keep going? How do I keep the momentum up to lose the weight that I've lost already? And how do I keep going to keep losing that weight when I'm not at my target yet? So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of all the things that I find the most helpful. Weigh in the same clothes. Now, when I started Slim and Whale, it was the height of summer. It was June 2015, and I toddled along on my first session wearing a tiny pair of skimpy shorts, lovely they were too, and a t-shirt. And I've gone back every single week since, rain, snow, wind, you name it, in my shorts, in my t-shirt, to make sure that I weigh every week in the same clothes. When I go and I stand on those scales, I want to make sure that I'm the one who's losing the weight. Not because I've changed my jeans, not because I've got a lighter coat on. I want to know that I lost that weight's coming off my body. So even though now, nearly... Thank you very much. So, yeah. So even though now, in the middle of... Oh, I've completely lost where I am. So even though now, in the middle of my weight loss, my clothes are now too big for me, I'll still go and I'll wear those same clothes every week. I work on the social team for my group, and I see a lot of people come in every week and they stand by the scales and they take their watch off, they take their earrings out, have a quick shave, get rid of every last ounce. And you've got to make sure that when you are wearing whatever you're wearing, whatever it is that you decide, don't weigh yourself down with extra jewellery, necklaces, watches, Fitbits, whatever it is that you're wearing. Kick your shoes off, don't be embarrassed. Try and wear a pair of socks, nobody likes odd socks. Make sure that you give yourself the best odds when you stand on those scales every week. Number 2, don't take advantage of free food. Now, don't treat it like a challenge. You haven't got to eat everything in sight. Now, I've learned that the hard way. I found in the past that because I could eat the free food, I was eating the free food. So I would have double my helping of pasta, whatever it is that I'm making that's free food. And the reason I could do that is because I could have as much of it as I want. You go to group, you go to your sessions, you go to your meeting, and they tell you, eat as much as you want. I'm finding it really difficult to get full. I'm finding it really difficult to actually feel satisfied just after a standard meal. I'll go out and I'll make myself a big pot of pasta and I'll fill my plate with it and I'll eat it, and I'm still hungry later, and you don't want to get into that. Now I'm in the middle of trying to work myself back to shrinking my stomach down so that I only need smaller meals. And if you do still feel hungry, if you do still feel the need to eat more, try and fill yourself up with that speed food. Now, number 3, what you really want to do is make sure that on the day before you go away, you give yourself the best chances. So eat light. Now, make sure that you don't have foods that are too high, too carby the day before, because you don't want anything that's going to really sit in your stomach and wait there until you get off the scales. The day before I weigh, I'll always try and fill myself up on lighter foods, salads, soup, all kind of things like that that are full of speed, really light on the tummy, so that when you are going away in the next day, you're not going to have to worry about carrying that extra physical weight of the food still sitting in your tummy. Number 4, do not starve yourself on weigh day. I can't tell you the amount of people I know who come to my group, who I speak to on Instagram or Twitter, who say, oh my god, I'm so starving, I'm weighing tonight, I'm not eating anything. That is so bad, and it's bad for a number of reasons. You don't go from one day to the next by starving yourself. You don't go from one day to the next by not eating. So just because it's the day where you've got to stand on the scales, don't think that you can't eat anything to get a better number, because at the end of the day, as soon as you go and you eat that meal that you've been waiting for 12 hours that you didn't want to eat because you were weighing, as soon as you eat that meal, your weight's going to go back on again. So give yourself a realistic, real view of your weight. If you eat every single day and weigh at 7 o'clock, you're going to weigh the same at 7 o'clock every day once you've eaten that meal. So don't cheat yourself by thinking, I've starved, and now I've got a great number. You know, it's no good for you. Number 5, track your sins. This is really, really important, and it's something that I've become quite complacent about, and it's something that over the last month I really had to relearn. Now, I used to write everything down. I started thinking, I know how many sins is in this, I know how many sins is in that, I'll guesstimate this, I'll guesstimate that, and that is not good. And it was getting to the point where I was probably massively over my sins every single day. About a month or so ago, I decided that I was going to be regimental about my sins again and really, really keep track of them. So I was writing them down. And in writing them down, I found that when I went in that week, I had a £5 loss. I didn't change anything else. I didn't up my exercise. I didn't change my meals. I just made sure that I counted my sins correctly. Number 6. That is 6. Taking charge of your healthy extras and your sins. Now, a lot of people ask me, do you use all your sins? Do you use your healthy extras? And the answer is always yes. You are given them for a reason. So make sure you use them and make sure you use them correctly. Now, when it comes to your sins, as I was just discussing, you want to make sure you are counting them and you are counting them correctly. But don't be afraid to use them. I've got a lot of people, especially men, who have said to me that I've got a lot of people who've said to me, and bloody dog. I've got a lot of people who have said to me, and it does tend to be men more than women, that they don't like using their sins, or they don't feel like they should use as many sins. Now, I think the reason being for that is, as men, sorry ladies, but we do get more sins than you. We are allowed 25 sins off the bat. And I think a lot of men, especially when they know that women are only having 15, feel like they're doing wrong by having 25. Now, you don't have to use all of your sins. Same for you ladies, you don't have to use all 15, but you need to be getting your sins in every day. Even if it's only 5, 10, make sure you're using some of them. You need to keep your body used to having those things that would otherwise be seen as sinful. As for your healthy extras, you've got your A choice, you've got your B choice, and you can use those on a plethora of things. Cereals, breads, milks, cheeses, you can use them on whatever. You should use them, it is really important, but most important is to make sure you are weighing them. If I know that I'm going to use my A choice on milk for the day because I drink a lot of coffee, I'll measure it out in a mug and I'll just pour from the mug all day, so when it's gone, I know it's gone. For number 7, I'm going to talk about your water intake. Now, I know that on the plan they tell us that we've got a multitude of free fluids that we can take. Tea, coffee, soda, soft drinks, squash. There are so many different options available to us, but what we tend to forget is that we really, really, really need to be upping our water intake. I will try and fill up on at least 2 litres of water every single day. Now, I know that sounds boring. I know a lot of people preach it, but it really does do you wonders. So just because you can rely on your free drinks, don't think that you can skip the water, because it's so important for your weight loss. For number 8, I want to talk to you about the importance of keeping a healthy life balance. Now, when I started Slimmer World, I was in it 100%. And for the first 6 months, I didn't even put on so much as half a pound. I was so determined that I had to lose the weight and that I had to stick to plan 1,000,000%, that I didn't really go out, I didn't really join in. But then Christmas came and I put on in 1 week nearly 1 whole stone, because I completely let myself go, because I hadn't been used to for 6 months having that balance of having the life and having the planet. We've got to be aware of the temptations that are around and learn how to keep the balance between the two. I think if from the off I had tried to keep that balance, then I perhaps may even be at target now rather than still trying to get there. Okay, number 9 might be a touchy subject for some of you. Cheat days. Now, I know that a lot of people will have a cheat day. They will maybe go away and spend the rest of their day eating anything that they want. For me, cheat days don't work, so that's why it's one of my top tips. And the way I think of it when I break it down is that if I go out on weigh day of all days and have a cheat meal, I'm essentially spending the rest of that good week burning off the sins that I had on that one bad day. So for me, that's the main reason why I don't go out and have a cheat day. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm never off plan. I do have bad meals, I do go out, I do socialise, I do have a beer, but I try and keep on top of it by counting it. And if I tell myself that I'm having a cheat day, I find that it's something that I feel like I deserve. And that goes back to something I've discussed in another video about emotional eating. I don't want to sound preachy about a cheat day, because I know for many people out there it does work, and I can only talk about the things that I find help me. So for me, cheat days are a no-no. So we're on our final tip, number 10, and this is one that I think a lot of people won't even think about, but I know it's so important for me, is stay to group. Now, I weigh people every week. That's my job at group, is that I'm the weigh guy, and I know for a fact that the people who regularly leave group as soon as they weigh, they don't have losses that are as good as the ones who stay and listen and take it in. And I don't treat group as, oh, it's Tuesday, I've got to get this out of the way. I see it as like a social event. I'm catching up with people who I don't see throughout the week, and catching up with what they've been up to, how they've been doing, what they're eating. And it's a really, really good social environment to be in. It's so important. The people who stay to group, I see firsthand, are the ones who get the best losses every single week. Don't be afraid, even if you feel nervous, even if you feel like you don't know people. It's always a really welcoming, inclusive place to be. So as soon as you stick around and you start getting to know people, you're going to have a really good time. So my advice is always stick to group. Okay, if you got this far, thank you very much. Those are my top 10 tips, which is not so deep. Guys, thanks for tuning in again and watching this video. Those are my top tips. You might have something completely different, and I would love to hear it if you do. So you can always get to me on Instagram or Twitter, or you can leave a message in the comments here. And don't forget, please subscribe. Hi, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to be talking about my top tips. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to be talking about my top tips to follow. Hi. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to be talking about my top tips to follow. Oh, shit. Hey. Welcome back. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to be talking about my top tips to follow. Oh, why can't I do this?